All right, we're recording. All right, welcome guys, Team Liberate. This is our May 14th call. Today is Monday, and I'm really excited to have our guest speaker here tonight, and she has quite a story of how her life is going right now to share with you, which is actually probably, I asked her to kind of share how she's using everything that's going on in her life right now as her motivation and her inspiration to keep her business going. Anyway, her name is Danielle. You might recognize her as Danielle Hills, but she's recently married. Danielle Reim, right? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. Okay. And Danielle and I hung out a lot at the Orlando retreat. It was Pat's personally sponsored retreat. And then I think they realized they had a bunch of extra space in this like ginormous house they had rented. So then they opened up the invitation for the 2 stars and above on Team Boom. And so I had to be there, and it was a lot of fun, and it was really nice to get the time to, to kind of just have that special like one-on-one time, and just that having those closer knit conversations with people that you don't always get to have, whether it's a big event or like online. And so Danielle and I were really able to connect at that event. And so I asked her, so we all shared a little bit. We all did like a little mini training, and Danielle just had a lot of awesome things to share with those of us who were at the retreat. And I just knew that her story would speak to a lot of us. And so I just asked her to share a little bit about, what she does and how she does it. Because she's really good at it, because listen to her stats. So I'm looking at my phone. So Success Starter, so those of you who don't know, Success Starter is when you hit Success Club, which is that benchmark of 5 or above, the first 3 full months as a coach. So you can pick whether it's like the first full month. So for example, if you signed up May 29th, Beachbody's not going to make you count May as your first month. You can count May or June. Your first 3 full months as a coach that you hit Success Club, which is helping 3 people, they give you a free ticket to that next year's summit, depending on where it falls in the calendar year. She is at Success Club for 18 months in a row. So that means you're a Success Club All-Star working towards Success Club Legend, which is amazing. And she is she's a team leader and a new 2-star diamond. So, and I relate to Danielle a lot too, because she's a speech and language pathologist. So, in the education field. And so, it was really neat to kind of hear what she had to say. So I will let you take it away, Danielle. Let us know if you want us to chime in, or if you guys have any questions. I think probably the chat would probably be the best place. And then at the end, if we have any time, Danielle can answer a question.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I'm so excited to be on this call. I will say that this scares the living poop out of me. So every single time, I don't even know how many team calls I've done now, but they literally send my heart into like a marathon, and it's just like da 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 every single time. But you do it anyways, because that's the only way that you're going to grow and be better than you were the day before, is if you just say yes to things that literally scare the crap out of you. So if anyone was on the Boom call last week, Pat asked me to speak like an hour before, and I was like so sick. So if anyone of you are on that call, I'm sorry. I was coughing all over the place. That was a mess. But I know I shared a little bit about my story on there, but I really want to take you guys like all the way back. And this is kind of what I talked about at the retreat. And it's actually funny because Pat asked me like a few hours before the retreat as well. He's like, every other 2-star diamond is presenting. You should present. And I wasn't even a 2-star yet. And I'm like, and he's like, they've had weeks to prepare. They have PowerPoints, but can you just wing it and just do something? And I'm like, Pat, why do you keep doing this to me? Like all the time. But of course I said yes, because you got to say yes. And I was the very last person to go. And for any of you who suffer from anxiety, you know that being the last is the absolute worst. You are sitting there like the anticipation, watching everybody speak, but like all you're thinking about is you having to be up there, like, and just, it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. But he wanted me to speak on something completely different. And when I was listening, because we had a lot of new coaches there too that were Pat's, personally sponsored coaches. And I was looking at around the room, like watching the overwhelm start to take in, because that's how I was. I get overwhelmed so easily. And I was just watching that happen. And as I was watching that, I was like, nope, I can't talk about what I was going to talk about. And I completely changed it last minute. And I just started talking about my story and why this opportunity means so much to me. So for me, take me back to college. I suffered from anxiety pretty severely. I would have 8 to 9 panic attacks a day. I actually failed an entire semester of college, an entire semester. I couldn't leave my house because I didn't know when a panic attack was going to happen. So the thought of leaving my house to go do something put me into a panic, because when I had my panic attacks, I just lost complete control. There's 2 different ways you can think during a panic attack. Either you're going to die or you're completely losing control of the person that you are. And I was the later. I felt like everything was collapsing in. For anyone who's read the book, The 5-Second Rule, I don't know if anyone's read that yet. It's an incredible book. You definitely need to read it if you haven't. But she describes what a panic attack is like and how your body reacts to that. And so she describes that, when you're in a car and you're about to, you almost got into a car accident, your body goes into panic, right? And your mind is able to connect that panic to almost dying, like in a car accident. And it makes sense. So your body is naturally able to calm down and you're good and you can go safely in the direction you were going. Whereas when you're having a panic attack, you could just be pouring your morning coffee and all of a sudden your body starts to go into panic, but your mind has no connection to why you're going into panic. So it throws you into more panic and then more panic to the point where you think you're just going crazy. And that's what happened to me. So I just stayed in my room. So for an entire semester, failed the whole semester, had to, tell my mom I was put on academic probation. It was a really dark time. And, then I had an ex-boyfriend at the time. And it gets hard for me to tell my story. So if I pause, it's just because I'm trying not to break down. But I had an ex-boyfriend at the time who I was still pretty close with. And his mom, I guess he had told her, kind of what was going on because I completely shut everybody out. And he told his mom what was going on. And so she sent me a book. And at the time I was like, this book is not going to help me. And she even wrote a little letter in the book too. And the beginning of the letter was kind of like, you probably think this is not going to help you, but you just trust me and just read this book. And the book was called The 4 Agreements. And I know Pat talks a lot about that book now. So it's an amazing book. If any of you guys have not read that one, as you can see, personal development plays a huge role in my life without me even knowing I was doing the things a coach was doing before I became a coach. But when I first got the book, I just put it to the side. And I was like, this isn't going to help me. And I put it on the side. I was like, whatever. And then my anxiety got worse. My panic attacks got worse. And I needed to try to get them under control. So I went to the doctor. And I just remember sitting in that doctor's office just crying. And she's like, what's wrong? And I could not tell her what was wrong. I couldn't tell anybody what was wrong. I didn't know. And I think that was the most taking your power away, not being able to understand why you're sad, why you're depressed, why you have anxiety. It takes a piece of you away. When you can't tell somebody what it is you're going through. And all she did was write me a script. And she said, here you go. Try this, see what happens. And I remember sitting at our little UCF pharmacy. I went to University of Central Florida. I remember sitting in there in full panic, of course, but I was like, I got to get these. I don't know if they're going to help. And I got the pills. And I remember going back to my dorm room. And I don't even take Advil. I am the most natural person you could ever meet. I don't even take Claritin, and my allergies have been through the roof these past couple of weeks. But I just remember looking at these bottle of pills and just crying. This is now where I was, staring at this bottle of pills, the last resort, the only thing that this doctor said is going to help me. And I did not want to go there. And so I cried myself to sleep with the pills in my hand. And I woke up the next morning and I said, this is it, Danielle. Like, you need to get your crap together. You need to step out of this house. You need to do things slowly. You need to figure this out. And I saw the book. And I don't know what just drew me to it, but I was like, okay, I need to start reading this book. I finished the book, I think in like 2 days, and it changed everything for me. My whole life has always been a roller coaster of just self-esteem issues. And, I never had the panic attacks until I got to college, because that's when like the real adulting happens. But my whole life has been that, caring so much about what people thought about me, never feeling like I belonged, just always taking every single little thing personally. That was my whole life. And this book changed my mindset. And it took time. It did. But I just started going out of my house a little bit. I started getting back into things that I absolutely loved, volleyball being one of them, which if you guys have ever heard Pat speak, that's how we met. But it was just these little moments that just helped me to become the person I am today. So I never have once regretted that time in my life. Not once. I lost all of my friends during that time. I was a wreck, but I don't regret any of it, because it has truly helped me to help those around me who suffer from the same thing. So when we were at the retreat, I had just gotten this message from one of my challengers. She'd been my challenger for about 3 months at that time. And, she actually, a year before that, she told me no, of course. So we all get the no's, right? She was a flat out no. She wasn't interested. She had friends, from her high school that had done Beachbody. And so there were so many other options for her, so many other coaches she could have reached out to when she was ready. But I remember every morning I post my personal development on my Instagram stories. So I don't know if any of you guys follow me on Instagram, but every single morning I share my personal development, because it has been such a big key to my success in overcoming my anxiety and my mindset and everything. So I share that because that's what works for me. And that's why as coaches, you need to share the things that are working for you. Don't keep that to yourself. Share it with everybody. Share it with the world. If a quote sticks out to you, share it. Like if there's a meaning, if it like I know, hold on, what's your name? Sorry, Coach Nicole. You were talking about the national wake-up call this morning and how much that spoke to you. Share that. Like, that's the stuff that's going to drive like passion, and just like when you're speaking from your heart because it was something that impacted you so greatly. Like, those are the things that you need to really share, and those are the things that are really going to connect with people around you when they just feel that passion burning within you. And so I share it every single morning. Every single thing that happens to me, I share it with that passion and that drive. And so one day a year later from when she told me no, and I had followed up a few times too, she finally reached out and she's like, what book is this? And I told her what book it was. And then we just got to talking, and I was like, you do know that I share this kind of stuff all the time in my accountability group. Have you given any more thoughts to joining me and seeing, if it could work for you? And she said yes. And she joined my challenge group. She had an amazing transformation, and she kept going. And then 3 months later, she sent me this. Okay, this is the part where I get really emotional. So just bear with me. I couldn't even read it at Pat's retreat. I looked around the room because at that point I was a mess. I was like full of tears. I had my face in my jacket. And I looked around and I was like, who has like a straighter face that could read this right now? And it was Pat. And I was like, perfect. Pat, come up here. And I was like, you just need to read it, please. Okay. All right. Let me get to it. Okay. So she said, since I was a child, I've dealt with severe anxiety and depression. When I came to you in October, I was at the lowest of lows. Consistently depressed, questioning myself, and borderline alcoholic. Yes, alcoholic. I cringe typing that. I was out of straws to grasp, but you stuck out your hand and I grabbed the only thing I saw left. I can never thank you enough for how you run your group and how you've changed my life. Everything from the daily posts and the Darren dailies. They gave me a reason to wake up and look forward to my day. Because of you and Beachbody, I can now hold myself accountable to staying fit and eating right, and feel so empowered when I say no to alcohol. I truly believe God sent you to me in that time. Thank you for everything you've done and continue to do. You're meant to be where you are. That is why I coach. That, to me, that's a person, you know? It's not a point. It's not just a Success Club point. That was a person who was so broken, but shared her highlight reel on every platform. She shared her highlight reel to every single person that knew her. She didn't disclose any of that to me on our first call. That didn't come till 3 months later. But what if I just kind of said, oh, she already told me no, or no, she looks super happy, so I'm not going to invite her today. Where could she be now? Like, it blows my mind. And so that's why, like, I've always been so big on, no does not mean no forever. Just no right now. And that person, when they are ready, if you have shown up for yourself and shared those pieces of you that, like, just, I didn't come out of the gates sharing my anxiety when I first became a coach, but I knew if I wanted to have that impact, if I wanted to help people just like me, I needed to start sharing that. I needed people to know that I failed a whole semester of college, because most people looked at me and thought my life was perfect and thought that I had it all together. And I'm like, no, let me show you the semester of fall 2000, and I think it was like 16. But, everyone, don't fall for people's highlight reel, and don't look at a person as just a point. I've always said that any number in this business, whether it's your volume points, whether it's your Success Club, whether it's your weekly paycheck, that number is a direct reflection to the amount of lives that you are having a positive impact on, whether it's you or your team. And that is how I've always helped my team to see it. That's the mindset I try to get every single person on my team to be in. When they say, like, oh, I hit Success Club 6, I'm like, who were those people? Because they are people, not points. And so that's always been a big component of, my business and my team and how I want to run it. And yeah, so that's a little bit about my story. And then, just hustling with your heart every single day. And now I know Brooke asked me to kind of share, like, what's been going on in my life. So right now, and pretty much for the past, I would say 2 years, things have been super crazy for me. So, I just had my wedding in January. So of course, everyone knows that a lot of planning goes into that. I didn't have a wedding planner. I was the wedding planner. So I delegated all tasks. I had everything organized. I handled all payments. Like, everything was me. And it was like a 120-person wedding. So it wasn't like a 30-person wedding or anything. I work full-time as a speech language pathologist. My husband is a volleyball coach, so sometimes I'll help out with him. I used to be a volleyball coach with him, but I was able to retire from that and focus on Beachbody because I needed to. I am now closing on a house. We just got our offer accepted today, or it was yesterday, but I announced it today. And we've been looking at houses for the past 2 weeks, so, like, my schedule has been nuts. And it's the last 2 weeks of school. So for anyone who works in the schools, you know how nutty that is. I have my dog Leo, like, literally the list goes on and on and on. But I'm still sitting at Success Club 16.
You're going to Greece for 2 weeks?
Yeah, I leave for my honeymoon next weekend. And I'm planning an Emeralds and Above retreat for my entire team down in West Palm. For anyone who reached Emerald, like, they got an invite. And so I'm planning that too. That's this weekend. And next weekend is Greece for 2 weeks. But I'm still at Success Club 16. I've still helped 8 people start their journey. I did my math right? I think that's 8. I'm a speech language pathologist, no math involved. But, like, no excuses. Like, I am the queen of no excuses. Like if someone like literally looks at me and says like, I don't have time, I'm like, girl, please. Did I mention I also drive 3 hours a day to and from work? 3 hours. Like, come on. And I do one-on-one getting started right calls with all of my new challengers. I get on a Zoom call with them because they have invested in me. So I'm going to invest in them. Like when someone purchases a challenge pack from you, that's $50 that you are getting now. If you do like the 2B mindset and the workout one, that's like a $65 paycheck, you know, just from that one person. Like they're paying for you to give them an amazing experience. And to me, the game changer, absolute game changer, was getting on a call with my challengers and with my coaches. I do calls for everything. I don't even do coach sneak peeks anymore. If someone's interested in coaching, let's get on a call. I let them lead the call because they're going to ask me questions. And that's all I say is we kind of chit chat like, oh, how's your day? Da, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, I really value your time. So I want to make sure you get to whatever you want to get to this evening. So I make it like it's all about them. And then I just say, you know, I know you have questions. What are your questions? And that's all I answer on the call. That's it. Because those questions are their objections. And if you can answer them and get them taken care of, they're going to learn everything else later. Like all the other gritty things. But that's what works for me. And I'm just always no excuses. Like if you guys could literally see my planner right now, I had 3 getting started right calls right when I got home from work, 5, 6, and 7. And then I jumped on this call for you guys. And then tomorrow I have 5, 6, 7. And then we have team call at 8. And then I have my team call at 9. And then Wednesday I have 7, 8, 9, 10 for my calls. I'm just a no excuses type of person because if I can wake up every day to a message like I got from my challenger, then it doesn't matter. Like that meant so much to me. I had another challenger today record herself in a video to send me a video text saying that she hasn't worn these pair of pants in 4 months. Like those make it worth it. And because, you know, I've just hustled with my heart every single day, it's just everything's compounded over time. And that's why I'm able to retire now from being a full-time SLP in 2 weeks. And I will be taking this full time. And, you know, but I'm still, even though I'm taking it full time, that just means I get to help a shit ton more people. And that just like lights my fire. And I'm so excited. But yeah.
So Danielle, if you have all of these calls after work and stuff, and your commute and stuff, how do you fit in like your vitals?
So I do my miracle morning first thing in the morning when I wake up, and I basically do like the minimum, right? So I do my gratitude journal, which only takes like 5 minutes. That's this. And then I have like a find your happy book. That's only 1 page. And I set a timer and I only do 10 minutes of reading. You know, some people will do a chapter. I don't have time for that. I have 10 minutes and that's what I allot myself to do. My workout, I actually slept in this morning because yesterday was Mother's Day. So I had 2 moms, one in St. Augustine and then my mother-in-law here. So we were up pretty late, but after this call, I'm doing my workout. You know, that's just what's happening. Workout is a non-negotiable. You got to do your workout. You can skip 1 day, but you can't skip 2. Mm-hmm. And then while I'm at work, I use all of my pockets of time. I'm in the very back portable of my job. So when I'm walking to go get kids, I'm sending out friend requests on my phone. I don't give a shit. I'm walking. Like I'm literally have no kids with me. I'm walking to go get them. It usually takes me like 5 minutes. I can follow 50 people on Instagram in 5 minutes while I'm walking to this class. And then the phone goes away when I pick them up and then I walk them back and then I do it again. Define this word skipping workout. Yeah, you never like, I always say like there's 1 day of the week, like, and for me, cause I do listen to my body. So cause I try to get my workouts done in the morning. That's always my main goal, but I do have to listen to my body. And right now I have a lot going on, like so many hats that I'm trying to wear. And if I'm like not physically able, because especially when you're doing 80-day obsession, like you're lifting heavy weights. So especially in phase 3. And if I'm tired, like that's kind of dangerous. So I do listen to my body. So then I'll just say, okay, my workout's happening later tonight when I'm more awake, more alert. Because I'm also living with my in-laws. So Brian and I have been sleeping on a futon for a year, and I work out in the same place where we sleep. So like I'll wake him up and da da da, and then my dog goes nuts, and I like take his sleep space, and I don't know, it's a whole mess. But still, like, no excuses. Like, I can't with excuses. I just really can't. Because I've never because you take on the load that you take on, and you have to, just do it. Like, I'm never gonna, if I take on so many challengers, I can stop. I can say, okay, I'm going to cut off at 5 people. But I don't want to. Like, I want to help as many people as I possibly can. So I just sacrifice other things too. Like, if everyone's watching a movie, maybe I've already had like my movie night for that week, and I'll just say, okay, I'm going to have my laptop with me for this movie. But my family knows, like, I communicate everything with my family. My husband knows, my in-laws know, my puppy knows. I communicate everything with them, and they're okay with it because they see what I'm doing. They see the income that's coming in just from what I'm doing on the side as a side hustle. And so if you are having, like, if your goals are coming true, like, your family is going to understand and they're going to be on board. If you're doing work for 5 hours a night or 3 hours a night, but nothing's happening and nothing's moving forward for an extended period of time, like, of course they're going to be skeptical. And that's where you have to figure out what's not working. I'm so big on self-reflection. Like, when I first started as a coach and like someone would tell me no, I would go back in the conversation and I would just say, what could I have done better? I would always do that. And I'm like, maybe I should have, really talked about them a little bit more. Maybe I should have worded that a different way. I always self-reflect. I think that's huge. Because, you have to take that accountability for yourself. And, if you rushed through a conversation and there are some, because what I'll do for my new coaches is if they're getting a bunch of no's and like they're not seeing success, I get on a call with them and I'm like, show me the last conversation that you had that led to a no. And we'll pull it up and we'll start from the beginning, from the invite all the way to the no. And there will be times where you can 100% tell that they are literally copying and pasting from a script. And to me, the script, to me, that's a guide. That's supposed to guide you, but that's not supposed to be like it's not supposed to take over your conversation. Like, the person will say, I'm so depressed, I'm anxious, I'm this and that. And then it will just be like, wonderful, tell me what blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, you didn't even respond to them. Like, you didn't relate to them. And like, you have to self-reflect on that. And you have to look back and like, you can tell you were just in it for the 2 Success Club points. Like, I would have said no to you. Would you have said no to yourself? And so I'm always big on that. And you just have to fail forward. I failed so many times. I had 2 success starters when I first started, like my first 2 or 3 months as a coach, who both quit. And they were success starters. They got to Emerald, quit. And I was like, what happened? And instead of like blaming it on, just whatever, they suck or da da da, I was just like, what could I have done better as a coach to mentor them and to help them to see the opportunity like I see it? And so it was always just a game of self-reflection. And I never, ever let any of that affect me, ever. I was like I remember when my first real coach quit, Success Starter, Emerald, everything, Pat texted me because he saw the coach cancellation email, because everybody gets that, by the way. When a coach cancels, it goes all the way up your upline. And I remember he got it. And I remember he texted me and he's like, hey, I just want to let you know that I know she quit, but this happens all the time and everything's going to be okay. And I was just like, oh yeah, it's cool. Like, I already know. I've already talked to her about it. It's cool. And he's like, you're okay? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, how else am I going to be? I'm not going to force anybody to want this like I do. But it helps me to realize, like, how can I instill this belief within my team, and what can I do? Like, what are things that I would want as a mentor, like in a mentor? And so you have to self-reflect, and you have to always want to grow as a leader. I always say, Success Club is based on your success. The leadership ladder is based on your team's success. And to me, the leadership ladder is the number one. Like, if you guys don't know what your leadership ladder is, on the little, like on your homepage, there's a section that says leadership ladder. You guys need to be focusing on that. See where your weak areas are. Is it in volume? Okay, then you need to start getting new coaches that are going to help new people, and you need to help your coaches have success. You need to invest that time and energy into them, into your gold ships that want it, and sometimes you kind of have to bring out that gold ship in them. It's not always going to happen like that. Sometimes they need their fire lit just from watching you and like seeing, I always share in my team page, I always share the people that tell me no to let them know you're not the only one. Like, it literally happens to all of us. Even though I've been doing this for 2.5 years, people still tell me no. People still say they're going to purchase and don't, and I'll share my conversations with them, because I always want them to know I'm never going to tell my team to do something that I'm not doing myself, and so I just always show them that. I'm always, with our workouts and our nutrition, that's where that's where we become proof of the product, but we also need to become proof of the business, right? Because if your coaches don't see you being proof of the business part of it, they're not going to believe in the business part either. If you're not growing, your team's not going to grow. And I can tell you now that I've gone full time. I was actually nervous to make that announcement that I was going full time. And I actually went live on my team page talking about this the other day. I was so nervous because in my mind, I was like, people are going to know that I make money off this now, and like enough money to actually like live. And for some reason, I thought people were going to run in the other direction, that they were going to be like, no, she's just doing it for the money and da 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 da. I was like, oh God. And I was just so scared to announce it. But I was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, post it, just let it out. And I couldn't believe the response I was getting. It was just true, I can't think of the word. My semantics are horrible tonight. I just couldn't think of the word. I can't think of the word. But now I've had people who have said no to me 5, 6 times, like, okay, I'm ready to join you. And I'm like, what? Like, now you're ready to just be a challenger, not even to be a coach? And I'm just like, damn. I was like, okay. Because when I announced I was a coach, I was at Success Club 2, which was just last week. And now at 16. And what if I was too afraid to post that? If I let fear take control over sharing that part of my journey. But because I've always shared my journey with heart and hustle and passion, people saw that and they were genuinely happy for me, where I thought they were going to be like, oh, she just makes money off this and now blah, blah, blah. But yeah. Okay. I've been rambling on. I'm sorry. I think I jumped like 10 different topics. Sorry. Anyone have any questions?
No, I love it. And I used to think, my team knows this, I used to think that, I used to hate talking about money too. It always felt like gross and weird. But then on a national wake-up call, somebody mentioned like, it's not money. It is money, but it's not necessarily about money. It's about what the money represents. Mm-hmm. Like you have to live, you have bills to pay. And yeah, so you're making enough money now that you can still pay those bills by doing this full time instead of having to, also be a speech language pathologist. So
exactly
on the money front.
Yeah. And I thought like my SLP community would like really hate me.
Yes.
They're like super kind of cliquey. Mm-hmm. But no, they were like super happy for me too. And I actually had like 3 SLPs reach out and they're like, I'm burnt out too. Coaching is. And I was like, yeah, girl, let's go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and when it comes to money too, you don't have to come out and say like, oh, I made like $1,000 this week.
Right.
But you can say like, people see it because I'm being proof of that business. They're seeing the things I'm able to afford for my life. Getting a house. Most people my age right now are not able to do that. Like, so when I was first sharing that Brian and I were starting this journey, I was getting so many messages from people that like I went to college with and everything. They were like, oh, it's impossible. You're going to get super discouraged. Like, it didn't happen for me. I have to move back with my parents, this and that. And now they're seeing like it happened for me, and they're like, damn, like what the heck?
Yeah.
And so, or going on vacations and like doing things like that, like, you know, that's another way to just show that you're proof of this business and like what it represents. And then getting out of debt, like, you know, just sharing a post, like, you know, that's like a big burden for most people is student loan debt. And just, you know, I remember Kate Morgan even showed one of her cutting up her credit cards. You know, that's powerful. You know, she didn't just come out and say like, I just paid like, like she showed like a powerful message like behind it.
Right.
And shared her story behind it too.
Yeah.
There's ways to share. You got to share when you trigger someone's, when you have to think like what hurts you about whatever it is that you're sharing. Like what feelings do you have about it? Like that's going to be the trigger points. So like in every post you make, that's like a big post. Like, you know, when you're speaking to the Danielles before Beachbody, you know, whenever you're making a big post like that, you have to target on those trigger points. So how does student loan debt make you feel? You know, and then how does it feel to be paying it off sooner? You know, putting those extra payments towards it. So yeah.
Totally. Does anybody else have any questions? Comments, concerns, questions? I know we have a couple people on the phone who are probably trying to be silent. No, that was amazing. That was awesome. Erin says, thank you. That was amazing. That's exactly what I just said.
You're welcome, guys. I'm sorry.
I appreciate you taking the time out of your super busy schedule. I appreciate it.
Of course. You guys know
to hear the same things, but to hear it from different people and to hear different people's perspectives. And I think that's really telling, you know. Let's
work, and like you just have to literally be yourself, but you also have to self-reflect and I mean, be you. You know, don't think you have to be like XYZ to be successful, but you do have to continuously learn and grow. Like you just can't, like if you're literally getting no after every single conversation and you haven't hit Success Club in a couple of months, you have to reflect. Go back to your conversations, really look at where you could dig deeper, and, you know, reach out to your upline to have a call with you to like go over that. Because, you know, if you're just worried about how you're showing up on social media, but your conversations absolutely just aren't good, then nothing's going to happen. You could have the best social media presence, but if it's not in your conversations, you're not going to go to that next level.
Yep. You need all the pieces of the puzzle to align. Yep. That's really good food for thought. More reflecting. I need to do that myself.
Yeah. It's important.
Okay. Well, thank you. Can we take a picture before we get off?
Yeah.
Okay. Is everybody going to smile? Okay. Ready? 1, 2. Oh, I got to move here. Wait. 1, 2, 3. Yay. Okay, cool. All right, guys. I will post the recording in a couple minutes. I really appreciate it, Danielle. I know how busy you are.
Oh, no problem. Thank you guys so much for having me.